Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Buddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
View.
Today, 179 people presumed dead in a plane crash at an airport in South Korea. A man drowns and 4 others are rescued after getting caught in strong currents at a beach in southern Tasmania. Celestial V70 named the provisional overall winner of the Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. And Jasprit Bumrah rips through Australia's batting on day 4 of the Boxing Day Test. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ruby Cornish.
Hi, I'm Phil Lipoff. We want to get straight to our top story, and it is breaking news. A deadly storm slamming the southwest as severe weather sweeps across this country. Right now, dangerous tornadoes tearing through Texas, damaging buildings, leaving many without power. The mayor of Manville telling ABC News at least one person has been killed. All right, to politics now, and they are weeks away from taking full control of the federal government, but it's not all holiday harmony for Republicans right now. 2 of President-elect Trump's closest allies, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, are actually facing some backlash right now from some of his biggest supporters. The issue is social media posts both men have made claiming that work visas for foreign nationals are essential because American culture doesn't prioritize exceptionalism. Many Trump supporters on social media have shot back, saying that's not what they voted for. Joining me now is ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks near Mar-a-Lago in West Palm Beach, Florida, and our Alex Pache traveling with President Biden in St. Croix. So, Mary Alice, let's get right to this. We finally heard from the president-elect on this issue today. Where does he stand?
Yeah, the New York Post got him in a quick interview. He said, I've always liked the visas. I've been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I have used H-1B visas on my properties, he says. I've been a believer in H-1B. It's interesting. I'm curious in what way he has used these visas on his properties. These are a very unique kind of work visas that allow foreign workers into this country, normally in highly skilled roles, often in tech, medicine, engineering. And in the last few days, they've proven to be controversial. Like you said, really dividing MAGA world, putting some parts of Trump's new base, a lot of those tech entrepreneurs out of Silicon Valley, like Elon Musk, like Vivek Ramaswamy, pitting them against some of
you.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, in Florida, multiple people are injured after a train collided with a fire truck just hours ago. It happened in Delray Beach, and that is where we find Yasmin Jewel Miss from our affiliate WPBVF with more.
It's a crash unlike anything we've seen in recent years since Brightline started its South Florida service in 2018. A Brightline train traveling through Delray Beach Saturday morning, striking a fire truck and sending 15 people to the hospital.
There were 3 firefighters that were transported.
Yasmin, thank you for that. Appreciate the update. Dallas Maverick superstar Luka Doncic's home was burglarized Friday night. It's the latest in a series of break-ins we've been telling you about at the homes of high-profile athletes. His business manager telling ESPN no one was home at the time of the burglary, and the investigation, of course, continues. This incident follows a wave of high-profile home invasions, including those of NFL stars Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. You see there back in October. Still to come, a look back at some of the biggest legal bombshells of the year, including the arrest and indictment of one of music's biggest names. More after the break.
Tonight, dangerous conditions on the road and in the skies, and the record rush to get millions of people home. Across the South, a deadly outbreak, at least 8 possible tornadoes already reported in Texas and Louisiana. Violent winds, massive hail, and flash floods. The West on high alert for avalanches and mudslides, and the impact on travel. Flights delayed and canceled. The latest forecast ahead. And a terrifying crash, a train in South Florida smashing into a fire truck, flipping it over. In shocking new video, a woman opening a plane's emergency exit and walking out onto the wing. What we're learning about why she did it. And another person found on fire in New York City just days after this woman was set on fire and burned to death on the subway. Why authorities are worried this could be a trend. And Israel's military raiding one of the last functioning hospitals in Gaza. The building burned, patients and staff removed, why Israel says it was being used for terrorism. And President-elect Trump weighing in on the new battle over immigrant worker visas. Some allies like Elon Musk are supportive, while other supporters of Trump say they are taking jobs away from Americans. And the rush to return all those holiday gifts, but where do they really go when you send them back?
This is NBC Nightly News.
See you all, and I have to say, this is my favorite weekend of the year to be doing a show, because we're at that bizarro in-between phase of Christmas and New Year's, where people don't know if they should return a few gifts or go to rehab. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? I don't know. Luckily for me, I got the intervention out of the way early because we kicked off 2024 by talking to the world's life coach, Tony Robbins. Watch this.
Right. I am fascinated by so much of what you are, because I am the low-rent version of you. What I mean by that is people get into a taxi and they know they're never going to see you again.
Yes.
So they dump all kinds of, life stories and love habits. But here's the problem. Sometimes you see them again. You're like, well, good morning, cowboy. Look who's back in the saddle.
Who would you rather get life advice from? A cab driver who has clearly seen a lot of things, or a self-help author who's clearly made a lot of money?
So you're asking between you and Tony Robbins?
With a straight face. With a straight face. I am asking who?
The dumbest question I've ever heard come out of your mouth. You. I would not stand. Tony Robbins is way too tall. I'd look like an Oompa Loompa next to him. You make me look good.
He is. No, he is. He's massive. And you did owe me a cheap shot, Steph Bezos.
He's got really white teeth, too.
Robbins?
Yeah.
He's got massive hands. He's got such a good laugh. He was a real deal guy. And the trick is if he sat down and got you to believe in yourself, I see why he's as potent as he is.
Really?
Yeah, because he's such a credible human being. And the other thing is, you can tell when you talk to him off mic, he gives a You know what I mean? Because whenever you
On this Saturday night, another Israel attack in Gaza sparks international outrage. One of the few hospitals left standing, besieged. How Israel is defending the raid, with Gaza's humanitarian situation already at rock bottom.
We continue to call for an immediate ceasefire.
More pressure on the Prime Minister to resign. The latest Liberal MP to publicly call on Justin Trudeau to call it quits. Plus, what sparked this major fire in BC at one of North America's biggest coal facilities? And not a fan of what you got for Christmas?
That belongs in a museum.
The exhibit dedicated to your bad gifts.
Global National, reporting tonight, Ann Gaviola.
Especially around the school, I'd be happy to.
Jocks preferred to geeks, sport over science. It's all there in the 90s teen comedy that Donald Trump's tech bro protege, Vivek Ramaswamy at least, seems to think symbolises the failure of American culture.
I knew that was coming.
A culture that venerates Zack and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell will not produce the best engineers, he said in a tweet. American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. Cue civil war among Trump's inner circle, the billionaires versus the nationalists, chiefly former White House strategist Steve Bannon biting back.
The nerds don't take criticism, and I say, you can't run a country by algorithm.
It all started when an Indian-born entrepreneur, Sriram Krishnan, was announced as the incoming Trump administration's AI czar.
I feel nervous. I feel real pressure. I don't want to screw this up. I may not get
Trump's MAGA movement imploded into broader arguments about immigration. Elon Musk, increasingly at the right hand of the incoming president, hit back, calling fellow Republicans unrepentant racists. Then becoming a target himself of some of the loudest pro-Trump voices his own platform has amplified.
This is about being able to speak truth to power and speak truth about unelected billionaires who now want to pretend like they are president.
It shows just how troublesome a second administration could be for Donald Trump, with MAGA tribes already turning on themselves.
He started it.
Hey.
Hello, you're tuned into Daybreak on France 24. It's good to have you with us. Here's a look at our top stories. At least 120 people have died after a plane crash-landed and burst into flames at an airport in South Korea. The Jeju Air passenger plane was carrying 181 people. Georgia is preparing for a political standoff as incoming President Mikhail Kavelashvili is set to be sworn in this Sunday, while current head of state Salome Zurabishvili says she won't leave office, calling his election illegitimate. And the Italian government has banned self-check-ins for holiday rentals, citing public order and safety risks, meaning guests must be met in person by property owners. We'll bring you a report from our correspondents in Rome. Well, we're just hearing that about 120 people have died after a plane crash-landed and burst into flames at an airport in South Korea. The landing gear of the Jeju Air passenger plane apparently failed to deploy as it approached Muan Airport. Footage circulated on social media showing the aircraft skidding off the runway and slamming into a wall. 181 people were on board the aircraft, which had taken off from the Thai capital, Bangkok. Morgan Air has the details.
This is DW News live from Berlin. A passenger jet crashes in South Korea, killing many of those on board. The plane with 181 people bursts into flames after landing on its belly at an airport in the south of the country. Only 2 survivors have been rescued. Protesters in Georgia put on a show of unity against the pro-Russian government, but they're about to lose an important ally as the country's pro-Western president steps aside. The Israeli military ends its raid on a hospital in northern Gaza, leaving the facility out of service. The World Health Organization warns that medical care in the area has reached breaking point. I'm Tomi Oladipo. Good to have you with us. We begin with breaking news out of South Korea, where a plane has crashed on landing, killing at least 120 people. The Jeju Air flight from Bangkok skidded off the runway at Muan International Airport, crashed into a barrier, and burst into flames. There were 181 people on board. Only 2 have been rescued from the tail section of the Boeing 737.
Good morning. The Education Secretary claims middle classes will support the VAT introduction on private schools.
Bridget Phillipson has said pushy parents will demand more from the state schooling system after being priced out by rising fees.
But many are heavily criticising the move, saying it will put pressure on the state sector.
The Prime Minister's approval rating are branded catastrophic with rural voters in a new poll following the planned tax raid on farmers.
And Putin has apologised for the downing of the Azerbaijan Airlines plane, but stopped short of saying Russia was responsible.
President-elect Donald Trump has asked the US Supreme Court to delay an upcoming TikTok ban while he works on a political resolution.
And the top New Year resolution, no surprise here, folks, is to get fit, with 38% of you setting the target. We'll be finding out the tips to achieve your goals.
Good morning. Teenage sensation Luke Littler moves into the fourth round of the PDC World Darts Championship at the Ali Pali, despite not being at his best. And in football, Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson has urged his teammates to go ahead and make history. The Premier League leaders are in action today at West Ham.
Good morning. It's all changed as we see out 2024. We say goodbye to the mist and murk, but it's replaced by some wet and windy weather. Find out all the details coming up a little later on.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Cameron Walker.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast. Hello, a very good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Coming up on the show today, at least 120 people are confirmed dead and many more feared dead in a plane crash in South Korea.
And the Premier League is back. We'll look ahead to a busy afternoon of games today, including champions Manchester City, who are hoping for a return to form against Leicester.
It's Sunday, the 29th of December. An aircraft carrying 175 passengers and 6 crew comes off the runway and crashes into a wall at Muan International Airport in South Korea. So far, just 2 people have been taken off alive. Rescue operations are still underway. Also ahead, the Chancellor insists that putting VAT on private school fees won't lead to closures.
Plus, Olympic cycling legend Sir Chris Hoy speaks to Sky about his cancer diagnosis and an unimaginable 2024.
18 months ago, if you told me this is what was coming up, you couldn't have imagined it. But that's life, isn't it?
And teenage darts sensation Luke Littler is into the fourth round of the World Darts Championship. Action on the way.
Hello, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. And we begin this morning with breaking news.
This is Asia Now.
Hello, it's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi and 1 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Angela Lim at this hour. At least 120 people dead after a Jeju airplane from Bangkok crashes at South Korea's Muan airport. The country's acting president, Choi Sang-mok, orders the government to put all of its resources into dealing with the crash. Russian President Vladimir Putin apologizes for the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash, but stops short of claiming responsibility for it. 38 people were killed amid speculation that the flight's GPS systems may have been affected by electronic jamming. And Israeli forces clear out the last major hospital in northern Gaza, detaining dozens of medical staff, including the director and hundreds of other Palestinians. Rights groups condemn the dismantling of Gaza's healthcare systems.
After several months of controversy, the Senegalese Prime Minister was finally able to present his general policy statement. This was a highly anticipated statement by the Senegalese people. Ousmane Sonko, who faced the deputies for over 2 hours, outlined the programme of the current regime led by Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Among the announcements are the repeal of the amnesty law, which, it should be remembered, had allowed President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko to be released from prison by President Macky Sall. Another announcement are the concerns in the visa process with countries that practice the same policy towards Senegal.
French energy giant Total Energies is scrambling to unlock billions of dollars in frozen US funding for its natural gas projects in Mozambique. The multinational wants the $4.7 billion loan from the Exim Bank of the US approved by the board was taken.
European Union consumers will no longer need a different charger for their smartphones, tablets, cameras, headphones, video game consoles, and other devices, as USB Type-C charging ports are to become the standard for mobile tools across the bloc. The new policy comes into force this Saturday, nearly 2 years after the European Parliament and member states voted overwhelmingly in favor of scrapping alternative charging methods. Under the EU rules, consumers can also opt out of receiving a new charger with each device they buy. Laptop manufacturers will face the same rules as of 28 April 2026. Electronic device manufacturers have resisted the EU's push to standardize charging technologies for years. The decision will affect all providers, but most of all Apple, which initially contested the rules, citing innovation concerns.
Luego podemos ir por ahí, claro.
Tonight, travelers beware. Dangerous storms thunder across the south, impacting millions. Tornadoes in the forecast, dozens of them.
I'm Katie Weiss in Alexandria, Louisiana, where deadly storms are rolling across the region. We'll show you the latest conditions.
Also tonight, a passenger train slams into a fire truck, more than a dozen injured. Authorities are investigating what led to the crash.
I'm Cristian Benavides in Delray Beach, Florida, where eyewitnesses say it sounded like a loud explosion.
The holiday rush to return home, on the roads and in the sky.
I'm Carrie Corrado at Newark International Airport in New Jersey with details on possible speed bumps as millions are on the move this holiday weekend.
Russian President Vladimir Putin apologizes for a Christmas Day airline crash, but fails to take responsibility for it. Plus, caught in the crossfire.
I'm Holly Williams in Tel Aviv. This winter in Gaza, many are living in tents, and the cold is claiming the lives of newborn babies.
Mega rich. California has a new billionaire after beating nearly impossible odds.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Tonight on PBS News Weekend, President-elect Trump makes a plea to the Supreme Court for the future of the wildly popular social media platform TikTok. Then looking back on the devastating Indian Ocean tsunami that claimed more than 200,000 lives 20 years ago this week.
From the perspective of survivors, when you go minute by minute their experience, it's almost like a horror film because you don't really understand what's happening and it's all incredibly unpredictable.
And as the year winds down, what music and which artists got our toes tapping in 2024? All but two of the 181 passengers on board a plane that crash-landed in South Korea are feared dead in one of the country's worst aviation disasters. Hello and welcome to TRT World Live from Istanbul. I'm Charlotte Brewer-Edney, also ahead on the programme. The World Health Organization says Israel's siege of northern Gaza threatens the lives of 75,000 Palestinians and is calling for urgent action to restore healthcare. Life after the Assad regime. Syrians celebrate religious harmony as a new church opens its doors in the northwest of the country. We'll have a special report. And as 2022 draws to a close, a look back at how the war between Israel and Hezbollah worsened Lebanon's already dire economic and security problems. We begin with a developing story from South Korea.
Ever heard the phrase, go touch some grass? Well, doctors in one Ontario municipality can prescribe you to do so. Doctors in Halton, about an hour west of Toronto, can now prescribe up to 10 free visits to conservation areas in the area. Regional officials say a majority of the prescriptions go toward addressing concerns like mental health, offering people a chance to disconnect from everyday life and simply get some fresh air. And let's bring in Dr. Subhani Selvarajah, the Chief of Family Medicine at Halton Healthcare. Doctor, thanks very much for joining us today.
Good morning.
I love this idea. Explain a little bit more exactly how it works, but I think it's great.
So the park prescriptions are, it's a prescription that you give your patients, which allows our patients to access the Conservation Halton Park areas for 10 visits without any charge. It's a great way to prescribe like lifestyle medicine to our patients. As you know, with any medical or mental health or physical health conditions, lifestyle changes are a main part of the treatment, and this is a great way to provide our patients like a concrete way to improve their health.
And what do you look?
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.